Alright, hello everyone and welcome to AEW Discussion. I'm your host of AEW Tuesdays, Dougie Doug. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing Dynamite, May 3rd, 2023 episode. This episode of Dynamite had one big match going forward, and that was the Four Pillars Tag Team match. Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry versus Sammy Guevara and MJF. Will the main event of Double or Nothing for the AEW World Title be a singles match or a fatal four-way match? We found out at the conclusion of the show, and with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the action. Started with Ricky Starks versus Juice Robinson, and while there might be an issue with the use of Starks since what should have been a defining win over Jericho at Revolution, a match with Jay White is still a big deal. If nothing else, it should be good. Now I say might because ultimately you can make an argument for a number of superstars within AEW that have been misused and not received enough television time, and really, I only have one solution for not enough television time, and that is simply put together a cast, if you will, of basically put every superstar into like a cast A, B, and so on, for however many you can fit into like in a 2-hour episode or something, and then just kind of rotate that cast. You know, pull people out of the cast if they're part of a storyline that needs to be featured every single week, but ultimately just have a rotating cast of guys and girls competing on television pretty much just every week. And even though the matches don't have any stakes, the whole point is to get them on TV, competing in matches in front of the audience, and kind of just let them build themselves up that way, build themselves into title contenders, whether it's for the TNT title, the AEW World title, or the TBS title, or the women's title, whatever the title is. Just get them on TV, get them some exposure, let them build themselves up. Might be a good idea, or it might be a idea to help with the underuse of superstars. But back to the match with Juice Robinson, or back to the match, Starks versus Robinson. Solid and physical. Starks got his quality win here. That's unlikely to be the case in Double or Nothing, as Jay White will probably not lose his first pay-per-view match in AEW. A loss for Starks, though, might return him to the status quo that defined him prior to the period, or prior to his feud with Chris Jericho. Four Pillars Tag Team match to close out the show. Darby Allin and Jack Perry versus MJF and Sammy Guevara. There was a good bit of overbooking throughout the match with the antics of MJF and Sammy Guevara, but the good guys in the end ultimately did what the bad guys could not, and that was coexist long enough to secure the win. Yeah, MJF and Sammy Guevara, their egos ultimately boiled over. MJF was great here in this match, the master manipulator throughout most of it before his self-centeredness and causes title defense. Double or Nothing to go from a singles match to a fatal four-way. That match, which featured the four young stars around whom Tony Khan has built top storylines since the inception of AEW in 2019, is probably going to be, or I think we can say safely that it will be a defining moment for the company, and one that should confirm that he was right to do so. So we had the first official match on the Double or Nothing card for AEW, and that is a fatal four-way match for the AEW World Title. The Four Pillars, MJF, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Jack Perry, all competing for the AEW World Title match. I like that one the most on the card, even though it's still the official one. I like that one the most. So looking at each individual segment of the show, this episode of Dynamite was not a hit overall. If I had to give it a grade, I would say it is mid. Some segments worked, while most missed the mark, ever so slightly. As a whole, though, this week's episode did put a focused effort to highlight feuds, stories, and stars that will be featured at Double or Nothing. Cole versus Jericho, Starks versus White, the Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club, which I'm still curious to see what kind of matchup that will play out to be. There is a cage match with Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega at there's a cage match next week on Dynamite. Moxley versus Omega inside a steel cage. AEW does steel cage matches so rarely, so anytime they happen, it's always a big deal. It's a special match. There will be blood, you can count on that. But I am curious to see if that match will have any effect on the rivalry, and what that means for a blow-off match with both these two teams basically going at it, combined. Like, what impact will this match have on the feud? We shall see. The AEW originals, which was Jimmy Hayter, and Dr. Britt Baker. AEW Women's World Champion Jimmy Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker. And now it features Hikaru Shida, a solid addition to the trio, taking on the Outcast. The Acclaim versus House of Black for the trios titles. The Acclaim would win a Battle Royal, which pretty much sets them up for a title match with the House of Black. Which will also probably be under House Rules. I will admit the House Rules intriguing. I like them. Like, they could be good. Wardlow defending the TNT title, but who does he defend the title against? Christian Cage or Luchasaurus? Because ultimately that segment was just all kinds of confusing. Wardlow certainly didn't do himself any favor with that promo, but Christian Cage saying the title shot was for him. Quite curious. And then Luchasaurus not being bothered by that. Okay, I mean, that whole segment made zero sense, so I'm quite confused as to who the TNT title match is going to be for, but I guess we'll find out. And then the Pillars 4-Way as well, all featured as the creative forces began to formulate the card for the extravaganza that is No More Nothing. There are some holes in the creative right now, some bigger than others, but the show is a step in the right direction and gave fans the impression that Tony Khan at least knows where he is headed in time for one of the biggest events of the year for AEW, that is until All In. And with that, we'll go and wrap up this episode of AEW Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.